say true blue, don't say you've gone.
There once was a country called Australia, a land of wide open spaces, backyard cricket, meat pies and mateship. A land built by hard work, faith, sacrifice and shared values. We honoured our culture, we built communities, we went to church and operated in a healthy, homogenous society. Mum stayed home, Dad worked hard, the kids ran barefoot outside and came home when the streetlights turned on. You didn't need 2 incomes, you didn't need a 30-year mortgage, and you didn't need to apologise for being Australian. This is the story of how that country has been dismantled, piece by piece, and why we want it back. To support us, consider becoming a YouTube channel member or Patreon, or see our new merch line, links in the description below. Australia used to be proud of its identity. We were a British/European Christian nation in law, in values, and in culture. We knew who we were, why we were here, and we knew what we stood for. Family, mateship, faith, and respect. But today, that identity has been almost completely scrubbed out. Even to the point that Australian flags are now offensive, even on Australia Day. And our history only recently has been changed and rewritten through a lens of shame and guilt. Young Australians are taught to reject their heritage, not to honour it or keep it. They're told our ancestors were oppressors, that their values are outdated and beliefs are bigotry. But this isn't progress. This is an erasing of culture that has been around for centuries. And the result? A generation with no anchor, no national pride, no sense of keeping to our culture and traditions, and no sense of belonging. Even our sport culture has changed. Remember the great Aussie sporting characters? The cricketers with a big but lovable personalities like Merv Hughes, Shane Warne, Dennis Lilly, Andrew Simons, Matty Hayden, or the footy players with extreme backbone. Now they're all media-trained robots, too scared to show any personality or to say what they really think. Why? Because one wrong opinion can now ridiculously end your career. Just ask Israel Flower. He quoted the Bible on gay marriage and his whole name, reputation, and career got completely ruined by the media and the woke sporting codes, which never used to be like that, by the way, these sporting codes, but they are now filled with DEI, vote yes, alphabet community, and welcome to country nonsense. Another example was Andrew Thorburn, the CEO of Essendon, who essentially got kicked out of his role and shamed because he goes to a church that doesn't support gay marriage, which, by the way, it was only 36 years ago that homosexuality itself was a criminal offence in Queensland, Western Australia, and Tasmania. We used to be tough, straight talking, and unapologetically Aussie. Now, we're wimpy, woke, and walking on eggshells, and it's killing our nation's soul. There was once a time when the average Aussie could buy a house, raise a family, and live a good life all on a single income. The dream was simple: a home with a backyard, a stable marriage and family, a job with dignity, and a life with purpose. Today, that dream is very much gone for the new generations. Rents and housing prices are through the roof. Groceries and petrol are way more expensive than they should be. And people are being told to make sure to be financially secure before having kids, and therefore are not having them, especially European people, and that's happening all over the West, not just Australia, but it is very bad here. The traditional family, mum, dad, kids, a yard, is unfortunately now more of a rarity, and now seen as a problem in some cases, with that narrative being pushed by the recent foreign influenced media. And our government actually used to financially support married couples with children with the child endowment and family allowance policies to promote a healthy society and a healthy family unit. Now, they pretty much punish them. And the media mocks the very idea of the family unit as well, with the strong, independent woman that doesn't need a man type narrative, the cheating and the debauchery in almost every major film or TV show, and I could go on and on about these things. And the system, the government, and the media has influenced a lot of the sheep-minded people in our society to believe these things and to live out and practice these things. But us, the true Aussies at heart, we still want that Aussie dream. But they're trying to make it very hard for us to have it. In Australia, women used to be able to walk home at night without fear, and mothers would let their kids play on the streets without a worry. That Australia almost seems to be gone. Crime is rising, streets feel unsafe, and people don't trust their neighbors, let alone even talk to them. And instead of fixing the problem, politicians and judges give so many criminals a slap on the wrist, especially a certain type of criminal. The solution is simple. Deport all migrants and asylum seekers who commit serious crimes, not giving them bail or extremely weak sentencings like they are now, and bring back tough sentencing for all violent offenders. Australia used to be extremely safe, and now things are changing. And if we don't do something about it and nothing major happens, we are probably going to end up like what we are seeing in the UK right now. Which leads me to my next point, immigration. To be straight up, Australia has always had immigration, but the type of immigration we used to have was from people of our same tradition and culture of European Christianity. And pretty much all the people that came here became Australian. They seamlessly slotted into our values and shared the dream. But that's not happening anymore. Today's immigration is fast, constant, and encouraged without even considering cultural differences and integration. Entire suburbs have changed beyond recognition in just a decade, and anyone who dares to question it is immediately shouted down. This is not just about race, it's about culture, cohesion, and it's about preserving the soul and identity of a nation. And that soul was slowly and is now rapidly fading away. Australia once had clear moral boundaries. Our laws, our schools, our culture were shaped by Christian principles. Children were protected, public decency mattered, teachers were respected, and elders were listened to. Now, children are exposed to pornography and sharing it with one another in the classroom and schools. Drag shows for toddlers, TikTok filth and thirst traps everywhere on social media, crime with little to no consequences, and anyone who defends traditional or biblical values is cancelled. What used to be shameful is now celebrated in our culture, especially in the area of sex and sexuality, and what used to be honoured is now condemned. We used to be such a moral, upright, high-functioning society in Australia, and now we're riddled with debauchery like porn culture everywhere, LGTV alphabet community nonsense, and no traditionalism. It's not just wrong, it's upside down, and the complete inverse of what society has been like in the West for the last 1600 years, from about 300 AD until about the 1970s. And it's producing A generation that's lost, broken, and confused. Shock. Let's just remove the morality standards that have made the West prosper for the last 1600 years and expect things to go well. Another big factor to the loss of what Australia once has been the breakdown of the family unit. Marriage rates have plummeted, and somewhat for good reason, because the legal system is now fully weaponized against men, especially in the area of marriage with no-fault divorce and all this stuff. And speaking of that, divorce rates have gone through the roof, as well as fatherlessness. And some boys grow up without dads or only seeing them half the time, and girls grow up without any sense of traditional women role models. And the consequences are devastating. Depression, sometimes crime, and young women turning to degrading, stupid things like OnlyFans, identity crises, and all the more. But the media doesn't talk about these things as a problem, because the nuclear family now, at times, is somehow seen as oppressive to women or something like that. But children need mums to be mums and dads to be dads. And Australia needs strong families to survive. We used to be known for one thing, calling it like it is. In Australia, we were unfiltered, honest, even crude at times, but always real. Now we can lose our jobs for stating a biological fact. What happened to the larrikin spirit? What happened to being able to disagree without your career being destroyed? Speech must be protected, not policied. We must defend the right to speak truth, especially when it's unpopular. Yet now, thanks to the new so-called hate speech laws in this country that are extremely arbitrary and not clear, by the way, you can be imprisoned for stating things that all of society would completely agree with you just 7 years ago. Because when speech dies, freedom is next. And I know that sounds kind of American coded, but it's still true. What we're seeing now is not even close to equality. It's preferential treatment. New arrivals to the country get handouts. Locals get high taxes that go to migrants and some other wasteful government projects. Quotas replace merit. Speech laws punish some and protect others. Christian or nationalist Australians are told to shut up and that they don't get to decide what happens in our country, even though it was Christian nationalists that founded and built our country. But every other group gets to flaunt their culture, beliefs, and identity. This isn't a level playing field. This is more than a tilted one. And Aussies are sick of being made to feel like outsiders in their own country when this never used to be the case. Governments used to work for the people, but now they rule over them with rubbish policy. They lock us down, censor speech, force medical decisions, push foreign-influenced globalist ideologies while ignoring local needs. COVID, was a wake-up call. It should have been for everyone if you weren't even awake before that. They took our jobs, our freedoms, churches, and most Aussies just let them. And now, digital IDs, hate speech laws, surveillance, and the expansion of state power is accelerating rapidly. Australia doesn't feel like a democracy anymore, it just feels like a controlled experiment, to be honest. And the people in charge don't even pretend to care. So what do we want back? Just the Australia we remember. The Australia of old that most of our parents grew up in. The Australia that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers, the Anzacs, died and fought to preserve in the wars. And the Australia that we were promised. An Australia of strong families, safe communities, a culture that respects its roots, a nation that protects its people, free speech, faith in God, and a government that operates in the interests of the people alone. We want a future where our children and grandchildren can grow up to be a proud Australian, where parents can afford to raise a family, where hard truths matter, and where freedom isn't some fake word politicians throw around, but something we actually live in. This is not just about policy, it's about who we are. And if we don't fight for it now, there won't be anything left to fight for. It's not too late, but soon it will be. The country we loved is fading and will continue to do so unless we bring it back. So if you agree with or enjoyed this video, like and share, consider checking out our merch, becoming a YouTube channel member or Patreon, links in the description, and check out one of the videos on screen now. God bless Australia and Christ is King.